Morning, everyone. Sorry I'm a little bit late today, but I had to get a couple things in order because in addition to the day text, what I'm going to do after we read the day text and discuss it is I'm going to show you a site that I believe will be very helpful to you if you are confused at all about flat earth theories or if you yourself are a flat earther. So stay tuned for that. At the end of this show, I was going to do a separate video and upload it, but because I'm so busy, I just have so much to do. It'll be easier for me to go ahead and do the day text and then do the flat earth video that I wanted to do right after that. So we're going to get to the day text here, and then I'm going to, at the end of it, if you want to stick around, I'm just going to continue and do a flat earth video and share with you some information I think will be very helpful if you ever happen to find yourself in that discussion. Okay, so as we do typically with these day texts, we meet every weekday morning unless otherwise scheduled. If something comes up, but otherwise it's scheduled for every weekday morning between 5:30 and 6:30, and Saturdays between 5:30 and 6:30 as well. Sometimes the reason it's 5:30 to 6:30 is because where I am, the daylight comes up right as I'm doing the day text, and it creates sometimes a conflict with the lighting because of the way I have my room, the room I typically do my videos in, set up. So in any case, that's why I give a range so that I can gauge the lighting and determine if I should use natural or artificial. So in any case, let's get to the day text, and then we'll do the flat earth video at the end. I'm confident you'll enjoy it. It won't be long, just a couple minutes to show you a site and some information that I think will be very helpful and complement the couple videos that I've done on flat earth issues as well. So, and then we'll also talk a little bit about tomorrow's show. But let's get to the day text. We work our way through these biblical books and letters, sometimes other related texts and histories, anything we can find that involves the God Jah, the people who worshipped him, or whom we believe to be the biblical Messiah, Jesus. Our principle in terms of treating others in life fairly is to do to them the way we want done to us. And where we make mistakes, we ask for forgiveness, and we give it to those who also ask for it. That's why we're Christian. Those are the things Jesus taught, among other things. So we're going to read a little bit more about that in this text. 1 John chapter 3, we're working our way through the letter of 1 John. To this point, we've read every single verse because I've translated all the verses in 1 John. And so I grouped them together so that we can make an application that's consistent and allows us to focus on just one or 2 points versus a bunch of different possible subjects so that we can get the most out of the text. Okay, 1 John chapter 3, we're going to read verses 21 through 24. And then, as I mentioned, I'm going to do a little flat earth presentation at the end. Okay, 1 John 3:21. Dearly loved ones, if ever our heart does not hold something against us, then we have confidence toward God. So heart here is more than just the muscle that pumps blood. It's the consciousness. It's really the thinking part of a human that is involved with the emotions that tell us whether or not something seems right or wrong. So there's this emotional, intellectual capacity that we have that is figuratively referred to as our heart. And so it can tell us, our heart can tell us when we feel love, can tell us when we feel sad. So we're using heart in that kind of way, as an emotional, intellectual capacity within a human being beyond just the muscle itself. And so the heart can tell us when there's something bothering, when there's something interfering with our normal thinking and disposition, something that's making us feel off. But if we don't have that, if we don't have anything inside our heart telling us, hey, You got to deal with this. You've got a problem here. This isn't going to work out well unless you fix it. If we don't have something like that, then, well, we have confidence, right? Because there's nothing holding us back. There's nothing we've done or that we failed to confess that should keep us from doing the things we can see are correct or based on the best available evidence. But if we do have something, then we need to address it so we don't have that blocking us from the confidence that you need to get this work done. Verse 22, and whatever we may ask for, we receive from him, because we closely follow his instructions or orders, and we continue doing the things which are acceptable before him. See, more often than not, I think if you're a Christian, you're trying to do what's right, and some other non-Christians as well who have a law in their heart, we are trying to do what's right. I mean, it's on our minds constantly. An awareness that even though we're not perfect, we're trying to do these things right. We're trying to follow the instructions. We're not trying to break the instructions. Verse 23, this is his instruction, that we should trust in the name of his Son, Jesus Christ. We should also love each other, just as he gave us an instruction. The one closely following his instructions remains with him, verse 24, and he also remains with that one. By this we know we remain with him because of the Spirit which he gave us. So let's go back to verse 23 for a moment. He's talking about God and the instruction that they received to trust in the name of his Son, Jesus Christ. And then he says we should also love each other, just as he gave us an instruction. Very similar to the two things Jesus said to the lawyer who was trying to trick him or prove himself righteous. When Jesus said that the two greatest commandments, the lawyer said it too, but Jesus verified it, were love Jehovah your God with your whole heart, soul, and mind, and your neighbor as yourself. And we, as Christian witnesses of Jah, we add to that the one other thing we're commanded to do. Trust in the name of Jesus Christ. So Jesus doesn't say that as part of his answer to the lawyer regarding the law. But we all know that the law, from Deuteronomy to Micah to Malachi, and in between of the prophets and the law, speak of the Messiah. So when Jesus was dealing with the lawyer, he was just addressing the commandments as they were in the Mosaic law then at that time, as far as Jah and the other people. But he knew, and the lawyer knew, that they were all looking toward a Messiah, which was Jesus, and we trust in his name. That's our three things. That's it. It's not it in the sense that that's not a lot. That's all you need. Jah is your God. Jesus is the Messiah, the Savior God sent, that we'll read about in 1 John 4 a little later. And we treat others the way we want to be treated so that we're not hypocrites. When we make mistakes, we apologize so that people recognize that's not really how we meant to be or wanted to be, or we're trying to be something better and we're just having a hard time. That's what apologizing or telling people you're sorry does. Doesn't make you less than them. A lot of people in the world think that way because they're so arrogant and vain. They can't apologize to anybody because they think, even though they're just animated dirt walking around, they think they're better than other people in that way. So can't help those who won't help themselves, but we can help those who look to Jah and to Jesus and who want to treat others consistently. If you're around someone who doesn't treat you consistently, boom, out of here. They're not going to change or help you become better, and they're not willing to work on themselves. What are you doing? Help them if they need it and move on. Don't spend your time with people who are just going to hold you back and try to keep you from doing the right things. By this we know we remain with him because the Spirit he gave us. Verse 24. So the Spirit is constantly a part of us. We have a Spirit from Jah that keeps us alive, but he also gave us his Spirit. And Jesus sent that Spirit from Jah so that it would help us to remember the things that we need to know and to teach and to show so that we can help others have faith in the name of the Son of God as well. Okay, I mean, so it's just a brief concentration of texts that are so simple. It helps us to bring out all the reasons why, and they're not that many, right? Three main reasons why we do what we do. And of course, associated with those three reasons are a whole bunch of other reasons and issues and evidence, but we concentrate on the three so that we can get the job done and leave everything else to everyone else so that they can get the job done too and have to worry about all these other things that just aren't as important as God, Jesus, and how we should treat each other. So excellent information here in just these four brief, simple texts. And that's why I like going through these day texts. We'll be back Monday morning to continue through 1 John. Now let me talk a little bit about tomorrow's show. CW Jaw Talk number 18. We will continue our series in the pre-Christian evidence that shows, in our view, Jesus is the biblical Messiah. Because we have texts, biblical texts, historical texts, by known and documented people like Isaiah, who wrote about things well in advance before they came to be in Jesus. And we can prove that because of datable texts that predate the time when Jesus was born. You compare those texts with all the details and the things that are written about what he did, and as I've said, either the greatest set of coincidences, which just don't happen that way, or someone's just the best. I don't even know how you could tell a story like that because it's so dependent on so many other things foretold in advance that have to happen or that you would have to describe as happening. And these are either the best storytellers of all time, or these things happened and they just wrote them down according to what they saw and according to what other people say. So there's a question on tongues. That'll get a little more involved. Maybe we may have to do a little bit separate show on that because I'm going to get into flat earth here in a minute. But hang on, maybe we will get to that. So, but there's a question about speaking in tongues. And it's just a little more involved with a few texts that we'd have to look up. So hang tight for that. But let me get to this flat earth issue. And then I will either address the tongues issue, or if I conclude after I show you this flat earth information, then just hang tight. We can talk about the tongues issue another time, or maybe I'll do a separate video because I'm going to have to show a couple texts. Okay, so good question, Betsy, but let's hang tight on that one just because I want to do it. I want to answer it correctly versus just tell you what I think in this case without getting into a couple texts. Now, let me just share with you all a couple things on flat earth, okay? So, as you know, I've done a couple of videos on flat earth that talk about how what I did was, because I've talked to different flat earthers and their arguments, if you encountered a flat earther and you just haven't looked into a lot of the details involving the earth and different activities that would show the curvature of the earth, then you could be stymied, just like with any other subject that you may not know a lot about, when someone who's looked into a bunch of the technical issues comes to you and brings up some of those technical points that you can't verify whether they're true or not, right? So they might say things about lasers and about flight plans and different things, and how many of us really have that advanced knowledge, even though we know that knowledge is out there? It would take time for us to gather it together and then present it, and now we're off topic from Jah, Jesus, and others, and we're on the flat earth. So I'm going to try to show you a way I think you can deal with the flat earth issue and flat earthers effectively. So you have my one or two videos that I did based on a military video about anti-ship missile radar technology and how the curvature of the earth limits the range of the radar because the laser attached to the radar, part of the radar, shoots a straight line. So a ship that's below the horizon, because the earth is curved, and we'll show that, and I've shown that, and this is why you can't use a laser radar directly across and track another ship or a missile coming at the ship that's low flying if it's too far away, because the curvature of the earth makes it so the laser can't see the other ship, even though the other ship is directly across from the ship you're using. You just can't see the other ship because the Earth is not flat. So when militaries design anti-ship missiles, that's a missile that one ship fires to sink another ship. What they do is develop technology that's designed to make missiles, in some cases, fly very low to the Earth. So they have to build a big missile to carry a lot of fuel because of the additional drag at the closer to the ocean, because of the mist and different things that will weigh on the missile. Whereas up higher, the air's thinner and it doesn't have as much drag. So the missile can be smaller, have less fuel, and so you can either go high or you can go low. If you go high, you have certain advantages. Like I just said, the missile's lighter, it can fly faster, less fuel, but ship radars can detect it because the radar can see the missile high up. But when the missile is low, when a ship fires a low-flying missile, if the ship and the missile are beyond the horizon, the ship that is the target, the radar can't see the other ship or the missile coming at it. Not until it comes above the horizon. Come my cats. So only when the ship or the missile comes above the horizon can the target ship see it. And so the goal of the militaries who make these low-flying missiles is to have a missile fly low enough to the surface of the Earth or ocean, in this case, so that it gets close to the target ship or closer to the target ship before the target ship has time to react effectively, because by hugging the ocean or getting close to the ocean, the anti-ship missile is approaching the target ship before it can see it. And so the advantage is in its low-flying capability. And because the Earth is not flat. If the Earth was flat, that wouldn't make any difference, because the target ship would be able to see the other ship and the missile as it's fired, because there's no curvature interfering with it. So there's 2 videos on my channel that explain that. And I explain in those videos that, if you're a flat earther or someone who's been confused by flat Earth, and you're not fully committed to flat Earth, but you're just confused, you've heard some things, and some of these flat earthers who are committed have confused you, that's okay. That happens. Anytime you're not technically prepared for information, even if the issue is fairly obvious, you might have a difficulty, because that'll be true with anything. Right? It'd be true with any subject that you just don't have the full range of technical information in order to verify or deny what the person is saying. So a flat earther who approaches you with technical details like that and you can't deal with them because you haven't studied it, just tell them, say, I can't verify or deny that. I'll look into it. And in the meantime, here's what I want you to do. So you have my 2 videos that I believe effectively show that the technology used by military radars today proves the Earth is not flat. Otherwise, there'd be no reason for these militaries to pour billions of dollars into these anti-ship missiles and radars to account for the curvature of the Earth. Okay, now I want to show you a site that is very useful for flat earthers. Wolfie 6020. And I know some of you flat earthers who probably subscribe to my channel or watching my videos, you've probably heard of Wolfie. And if you haven't, meet Wolfie. Wolfie 6020 is the flat earther's best friend, in the sense that he's going to help you. If my 2 little videos don't help you, Wolfie will help you. I'm confident of that. If you just take a look at all the videos on his site, the guy is amazing. He's a pilot. He takes flat earthers' challenges and destroys them. Flat earthers, by contrast, are apparently incapable of doing similar things and showing the things that Wolfie shows while he's in his plane. And I mean, the guy just loads up tons of videos that are helpful to show flat earthers who are not committed that it's a huge mistake to get more behind it. And if they are committed, then I essentially believe they're retarded. Not in that they're just mentally dumb. They're retarding the evidence process. If you're a committed flat earther, you're in trouble. I mean, if you don't get it now, eventually when even more awareness happens, I mean, you're going to be embarrassed to the point where you'll probably deny you ever were this gullible. But that's why you're not supposed to be this gullible in the first place. You're supposed to look at information before you just start throwing out different theories, even if you're not committed yet. I mean, some people, they'll jump on this flat earth bandwagon and not realizing they're making themselves look totally stupid by committing to something that has no evidence and is contradicted by all of the evidence. Let me show you one video here that's similar to the video I showed you with the anti-ship missile radar technology. So look at Wolfie's video here. This is a video on his site. If somebody tells you the earth is flat, show them this description below. And I'm going to show you that. Now look at what he's showing you here. Take a look. Do you get what he's showing you here? He's showing you the curvature of the earth. How? Look at the left side. These are the same shots, the same direction, but one is 30. The one on the right is shot from 30 meters high. The one on the left, if we look in his description, look what he says. From the top near Avonmore Terrace and the bottom on the beach. Both videos were taken within several minutes of each other. The left frame, one right here, is from 2 meters elevation. The right side is 30 meters high. So left side, 2 meters. Right side, 30 meters high. Remember what I said about the anti-ship missile technology and radars. If the ships are beyond the horizon or the missile's flying too low and the target ship can't see it because of the curvature of the earth, if the missile were to elevate, then the ship radar could see it. This is why, right here, because when you elevate, you can account for the curvature of the earth. The earth is not flat, friends. And if you believe it is, in the face of this evidence and all the other evidence presented on Wolfie 6020's channel and the couple of videos on my channel, then I think you're retarded. I think you have retarded your process of evaluating evidence, and you have regressed. And you're regressing society, i.e. retarding other people by confusing them about things that are clearly incorrect. So committed flat earthers, we'll skip past that video right there, little commercial that popped up on the Wolfie channel thing. Committed flat earthers, they've looked at the evidence, they've seen things, and they still promote this. You're retarded. And you're retarding other people's ability to rationally process evidence. And I hope you stop it. And if you don't stop it, meet Wolfie 6020 and go watch his videos. Or just watch a couple of my videos where it's very clear, based on ship radar technology, that the earth is not flat. Okay, so I wanted to share that with you all this morning. I'll clip that part on the flat earth and put that up after the Datex video. But I wanted to go ahead and go over it here so that we could all have the same information as far as the resources available on the Wolfie 6020 channel. I want to promote that channel. I'll highlight it in my clip so that the flat earthers know it's over. You have lost, and you never really had anything behind your issue. You just didn't take a look at the evidence close enough, which is really the problem a lot of people have today. But with flat earthers, it's even worse, because there's information available that they could have looked at, instead of going around and misleading all these different people about a subject that really makes no difference whatsoever.